All right, everybody, we're back for another episode, installment, issue, video. I don't know what we're calling this, but another segment. That's a good one. In the Chase at Frequency FM. I am Mandy Thompson, and we are talking all about the creative process, the chase of creative process. And today, I'm going to do my best to convince you of something that you may not believe to be true. In fact, you may believe the opposite. I want to talk about forcing inspiration. I want to talk about, forcing inspiration, making inspiration happen in our lives, knowing that we have the ability to be inspired at our own time and choosing, and at command. That inspiration happens at command. And this is, we all think that, we have to sit around and wait for the muse, right? This is our standard experience as creative people. We wait for that inspirational moment to strike, and then we frantically rush through it to implement our idea, put that song together, or write that article, or paint that painting, at the mercy of inspiration. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I learned this. I'm going to talk about, I don't like talking about my accomplishments, but I'm going to talk about them because in the end it didn't work out. But at one point in my life, I was working very hard to be a songwriter, a Christian songwriter. And in doing that, I decided that by the challenge of my husband, that I would spend a year writing 100 songs, because how else are you going to learn your craft if you don't literally practice your craft? So I set out to write 100 songs. And when you are in the process of churning out regular creative product, you learn very quickly how to make that happen. This is when I learned about the triggers and the creative routines. And another thing I learned about was forcing inspiration on command. So this is why I want to talk to you about it, because I have experienced it. I've experienced it in songwriting, and I'm currently experiencing it with my paintings. I am not lacking in ideas. If anything, I am lacking in the moments in time to put these ideas on canvases, which is an entirely different conversation. So we're talking about forcing inspiration. And this is all we have to do. It's very, very simple. You just need to have a cognizant awareness of what inspires you, and then regularly visit those wells of inspiration. It honestly is that simple. Know what inspires you and go after it. And the inspiration is waiting. Because if these things inspire you, and in our lives we do have certain themes or certain experiences or expressions, creative expressions, that do bring us the sense of inspiration. And it just works throughout our years. We know this. You probably can think off the top of your head things that inspire you and that spark that light to go create, to go do, and to go make. So be aware of those things. Make a list of them, and then return to them. Here are some elements that befit a good well of inspiration. Okay, this well will work for you if it has these 4 factors. Easy access. You can get to it when you need to. Okay, it's not like go and visiting a redwood forest. I'm from Georgia. It would be very hard for me to do that, although they are very inspiring to me. But the well of inspiration needs to be easily accessible. Also, it needs to have immediate resonance. You just know when you experience this, that it's going to call up a sense of inspiration in you, and it immediately resonates with you. And not only that, but it inspires you to action. You want to do something. You want to return to your craft because of visiting this well of inspiration, and you immediately have ideas or concepts or things you want to work on. And then fourthly, it fuels you with ideas. It does give you ideas, and it gives you things to implement. So easy access, it immediately resonates with you. You can feel it. It inspires you to action, and it gives you ideas to act on. So let me give you some examples of what fuels me creatively, what my wells of inspiration are. Honestly, Pinterest. I've worked hard to create a constant Pinterest feed that is of visual artists and scenery, color schemes, um, scripts, writing, fonts, things that visually feed me. I love going and looking through Pinterest um, to see ideas, to see what other people are thinking about visually. And then another thing I do is I visit my favorite artists online, or their online galleries, or just collections of their images that I may have. I look at them and I think about them, and I notice the themes and their style, how it repeats throughout their pieces, and just spend time in that. And honestly, I really want to go and paint after I look at my other favorite artists' work. Um, I look through magazines, mixed media magazines, artist magazines. I read articles. I read about the lives of other artists. I like the interviews that they have that talk about how they go through their day, or what it's like for them to be an artist, what their studio life might look like. And then another thing I do is listen to podcasts or how-to videos, just to get other ideas or other resources in my brain. And then also, I know this might sound strange, but I'll go back and look through some of my favorite paintings that are my own. When you know you've hit the mark or have come very close to it, it's inspiring, and it calls you back to do it again. To find ways to not only enjoy the process of creating an artwork that you're proud of, but to create more and more and more, and to keep chasing after after that sense of your artwork being good. So I am inspired by my own work. And then another thing is I often paint in silence, but sometimes music, ambient music, meditative music can really help me slow my mind, bring me down, so I can hear my inner voice again. And usually when I hear my inner voice, it brings ideas, it brings new projects, it brings new concepts to paint. Listen to myself talk for a minute. So those are my wells of inspiration. And for you, if you're a songwriter, your well of inspiration could be listening to other songs. It could be playing around with studying different chord progressions. It could be learning new riffs and new licks on the keyboard, or poetry. Just lyrics, other people's poems. And if you're a writer, you may have a favorite author that you visit, reading some of your favorite passages in novels that you've enjoyed in the past. Or it could be spending time with other authors and just talking to them about what their writing experiences are like. And for visual artists, obviously, some of the things I've mentioned, you can go to galleries. I don't have a lot of galleries in my area, but you could visit your favorite galleries often, or watching beautiful documentaries. That's something I wish I had more time for. But documentaries oftentimes are very visually thoughtful, and there's beauty in how they lay out the scenes in documentaries. So that's another thing you could do. Also, this is a thought. As creative people, we often have primary and secondary expressions of creativity. And so your secondary expression of creativity is kind of like a cross-platform conversation. So you may be a songwriter, but you might find yourself very visually inspired, and inspired to create songs from that. So you may go to galleries. You may cross-pollinate your experience. You may be an illustrator who is life is stirring you. You're inspired by poetry, so you may read. And what's really interesting is that if you are a if you like more than one creative outlet, if you do have multiple expressions, oftentimes your secondary expression is a well of inspiration in itself. You experience being refreshed just by having that secondary outlet. For me, I still am involved in music. I actually play the drums, and oh my goodness, it is an incredibly cathartic experience for me. So I am inspired when I play the drums. I am refreshed when I play the drums, and I wish I could do that more. It would be a more steady well of inspiration for me if circumstances were different. So be aware of those cross-platform experiences that you have, because they may be wells that you can draw from. So those are my thoughts on forcing inspiration. And you're you're only going to believe me if you try this. So spend a week regularly visiting your wells of inspiration. Spend a month of every 2 or 3 days you revisit your well of inspiration. Write a list of them. Keep them in your journal or in your calendar, your day planner, and make sure that they're a regular part of your weekly or daily schedule, and see what happens. See if you don't find yourself feeling less tired and more inspired. It may take a little while, but we have to replenish our own inner well, and this is how we do it. We draw from other sources. So have fun with it, and if it doesn't work out for you, please tell me, because I'm thoroughly convinced this will work for everybody. This is a part of the chase. This is a part of the creative process, and I would love to hear from you on this one. So thank you for listening and watching, and thank you for putting up with my crazy ideas, and we will have one more session or segment or episode or video, one more coming up soon. Thanks.